5, Unit 20. Subtracting numbers ending in 0 or with a 0 in the middle. Unit 20.1. We're going to subtract 1 or 2-digit numbers ending in 0. Let's look at example A. If we look at our ones column, we have 0 minus 4. That's not possible. So we're going to have to go over to our tens column to borrow. Well, the problem is we have nothing to borrow in our tens column. So that means we have to go even further over to our hundreds column, and we're going to borrow from the 1 and make it a 0. That in turn makes this number a 10. Well, we've still got to borrow because we still got to subtract our 4 and 0 over here. So that 10 then becomes a 9, and that makes the first 0 here a 10. Now we can subtract. 10 minus 4 is 6. The 9 from the tens position just comes down for a final answer of 96. Let's look at example B. Here we have a missing number that we need to fill in. If we look at the ones position, we know that we can't take 1 from 0. So we did have to borrow at some point in order to make that a 10, because 10 minus 1 is 9. Well, we didn't originally borrow from the 0. We had to come all the way over here to the 3's position and borrow and make that a 2. And we can see how that matches up with the 2 in the answer. Well, this originally became a 10, but because we had to borrow from that, it's now a 9. So 9 minus what number equals 3? Our missing number is 6. Unit 20.2, subtracting 1, 2, or 3-digit numbers with a 0 in the middle. Let's look at example A. If we look at the ones column, you cannot take 5 from 3. So therefore we have to borrow. But there's nothing in the tens column to borrow, so we have to jump over to the hundreds column. We want to borrow from that 4, make it a 3. That does make that 0 a 10. Now we got to borrow one more time. We got to make that 10 a 9, so that this 3 becomes a 13. Now 13 minus 5 is 8. In the tens column, 9 minus 6 is 3. And then the 3 from the hundreds column just comes down for a final answer of 338. Let's look at example B. We have a missing number that we want to fill in. 4 minus a single-digit number, there's nothing that you can subtract from 4 that would give you 8. So that lets us know that at some point we did have to go through the borrowing process and make that a 19, or make that a 14. So now 14 minus what number equals 8? Our missing number is 6. Unit 20.3, subtract 2 or 3-digit numbers with a 0 in the middle. Let's look at example B. We have a missing number that we want to fill in again. So we had the ones column, 9 minus 9 was 0, we're good there. But in the tens column, you can't subtract 2 from 0. So we did have to borrow from a number over here. Well, the number that's in the hundreds column is a 2. Well, if we had to borrow, that means that our original number that we're missing is a 3. 20.4. Subtract 3-digit numbers ending in 0 or with a 0 in the middle. Let's look at example A. In the ones column, you cannot subtract 1 from 0. So we have to come to the tens column, we have to borrow from the 2, make it a 1. That 0 then becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 in our ones column is 9. Look at the tens column. You cannot subtract 5 from 1. So now we have to go to the hundreds column, borrow from the 8, make it a 7. That makes that 1 an 11. So now 11 minus 5 in our tens column is a 6. And in our hundreds column, 7 minus 3 is 4 for a final answer of 469.